Michigan, and we'll be watching two of the best backs in the nation. Wet and chilly conditions shouldn't deter Mike Allstott of the Boilermakers, as well as Tim Biakatabuka of Michigan, as the Boilermakers are looking for their second straight victory, while the Wolverines, well, they try to bounce back from a 3-point loss at Michigan State last Saturday. It's cold, it's wet, snow is on the way. We're set in Ann Arbor, but first let's go to Mike Tirico. Mike.
And Joel,
but you can see right there, a mere 35 yards away from breaking a record established by Otis Armstrong. He is going to be a key for Purdue today, because clearly with this weather, Joel, the team that runs the best is the team that's going to win.
The weather is definitely going to be a factor. Temperature dropping. It's at 34. When we got to the ballpark about 2.5 hours ago, it was a little bit above 50. Wind gusting between 30 or 15 and 35 miles per hour. And already 4 inches of snow falling in Kalamazoo as we get ready to go. So not exactly the ultimate. Jay Feely will be kicking it away, the young man from Odessa, Florida. He's used to it by now, though. He's been here a while, a redshirt freshman. And Michigan did win the toss, but they deferred their option to the second half. So they give the ball to Purdue. Lee Johnson, Joe Hagans, waiting for the kickoff from Feely. And we'll find out very early about the footing with Purdue getting the ball first, the way they feature their fullback, Todd.
It's going to be interesting, because when they had a field similar to this at Penn State, Mike Allstott seemed to have his trouble. So you're absolutely right. A great deal of the offense is so dependent upon number 40.
And with the wind gusting, Feely needs some help. Get into it. It is going to be Lee Johnson losing it at the 1 to start the contest. Does a good job to get it across the 15. So the Boilermakers offensively coming out. 1st and 10 at their own 16. Copenhaver, the inside linebacker, making the stop on special teams. Trevsker, the quarterback, but he's going to need a lot of help from the tailback, Edwin Watson. Watson coming off his best day as a Boilermaker, though, a career best, 194 yards in the win over Wisconsin last Saturday. Alfred, the wide receiver, grew up in the suburb of Detroit, Oak Park, Michigan, the only wide receiver to catch a touchdown toss for the Boilermakers this year. And Damon Lewis, with his first start of the year, the offensive line banged up, and Mark Fisher, the regular left guard, is out with an ankle injury. So the Boilermakers 1st and 10 out of the eye, their own 16. Allstott. No gain on that carry. Lost maybe a half a yard. Horn there, as well as Fiesel. Defensively for the Wolverines, led by the young man out of Carter High School in Dallas, William Carr. Tops on the team in tackles behind the line of scrimmage. Butkus Award finalist, the inside linebacker, Jarrett Irons. He's out of the Woodlands, Texas. Charles Woodson, true freshman, starting on the corner. Not your basic true freshman, though. Mr. Football in the state of Ohio last year. 2nd and 11. A loss of a yard for Allstott. Tough going in the backfield early for Purdue.
Well, this is a good decision to defer with the weather the way it is. Michigan comes on the field in hopes and goes 3 and punt. Now they come up with a 3rd and 10, and this is not this does not bode well for the Purdue offense going into the win with a quarterback who's not that adept at throwing the ball.
And field position, obviously, Todd, very important in a game with weather like this. So 3rd and 11, back at the 15 for the Boilermakers. Trevsker, the southpaw, dumping it for Allstott. And he won't get to the marker. Only a couple of yards to 17. So 3 and out for Purdue on their first possession of the contest.
Well, Trevsker was really lucky just to get that off. And Jarrett Irons does a good job of pursuing Allstott from the backside. Very good sequence for the Michigan defense early on.
So now Monty Toomer getting ready for the punt. Rob Degnan. He had problems in the Ohio State game. That's the only real game where they had problems, though, in the punting department, where he had 2 blocked and lost another, but scrambled to pick the first down with a bad snap. Flag on the play.
Oh, he slipped and fell. Look at that.
And a dead ball foul anyway coming up with a flag on the near side.
Well, the left tackle moved for Purdue, and that's going to move back 5 yards, and Degnan's got to be happy about that simply because of the fact that now he'll reestablish his footing and hopefully get the kickoff. Toomer only standing at 35 yards.
Ball start.
Take a look right here at the left tackle. He's going to move just a little bit, just enough for the officials to see it. And take a look at the footing for Degnan. The left foot just slips, and that's not going to be the last time that's going to happen today. It's just difficult. The tarp only went out from 25-yard line to 25-yard line, so the footing is going to be particularly precarious inside the 20s on both ends. Joel,
you bring up a good point because it's been raining since about 2 or 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. So for the past 24 hours, precipitation in Ann Arbor. So now Degnan from his own end zone. The rain is now turning to snow flurries. Toomer stays away from it as it dies outside of the 45, just inside the 47. A 35-yard punt.
And Joel, I was going to say that there he was standing at 29 yards. You can see the tarp earlier as we mentioned. Take a look at what it's covering. Basically about the 22-yard line to the other side at about the 25. So the so-called red zone is going to be the wet zone today.
So the Michigan offense for the first time today, led by sophomore quarterback Brian Greasy out of Columbus High School in Miami. Their star tailback, Biaka Patuka, with a first down inside the 35 to the 33, a gain of 14. And the lineup with Greasy starting for only the 6th time in his career. How will he respond to this type of weather? It was cold in Michigan State last week, but nowhere near the precipitation that we're experiencing this afternoon. So that's the question mark going in for Brian Greasy. Look at the rest of the Michigan offense in just a moment. 1st and 10 Wolverines. Biaka Patuka once again inside the 30. Down to the 29. Some good yardage again for Biaka Patuka on 1st down. Leo Perez making the stop. Mercury Hayes, their big play, their home run threat out of Houston's Washington High School, leads the Wolverines with a 20-yard average. John Runyon, 2nd team All Big Ten performer. He's got the most experience up front for the Wolverines, the left tackle from Flint. Called it a gain of a little more than 4, 2nd and 6 now for Michigan. Started with the ball in Purdue territory at the Boilermakers 47. Line out. Biaka Patuka once again. Short yardage this time. Inside the 33. Washell, the right tackle, in on that hit. Defensively, Washell, according to the coaches, the senior from Greenwood, Indiana, playing the best ball of his entire career over the last 3 games. Chike O'Keefer out of West Lafayette. He's only a sophomore, started as a true freshman, and now as a sophomore leads the Boilermakers in tackles. And another one who started as a true freshman, the sophomore Derek Brown, a real leader now in the secondary. The sophomore from Fort Lauderdale.
Joel, don't be surprised here on 3rd and 5 to see him run the ball, because I think because of the conditions, even with the wind at their back, this could be 4-down territory.
Movement up front. Biaka Patuka in trouble. And he loses it, but gets it back and takes a lick at the same time outside of the 30, 32. Did we finally get a flag? Because it appeared that Perez, the left tackle, may have been offside for Purdue.
I don't see a flag.
No flag on the play. There was also movement up front on that side of the line, the offensive line for Michigan.
Take a look at the middle of the line right in here. Take a look and see if he jumps before the ball is snapped. Well, there was a little bit of movement, but evidently the official decided that he did not encroach, and as a result there is no flag, and Biaka Patuka gets the loss, and shows how much I know. They are going to try a 50-yarder, Joel.
It is going to be a 50-yard attempt for Remy Hamilton. It'll come out of the hold of Remersma, the tight end. High snap is down. Does he get it inside the upright? Well, it was right on line, but short. So the 50-yard attempt comes up a couple of yards shy. Still no scores. We'll be right back to Ann Arbor. Joel Myers along with Todd Christensen. And the wind is really gusting close to 30, 35 miles an hour. 1st and 10. Boilermakers their own 33. Well, for the first time somebody other than Allstott. It's Edwin Watson. Not much there, a yard at the most. ESPN's presentation of college football is being brought to you this afternoon by GMC Truck, the strength of experience. Well, this is the 45th meeting in this long rivalry between Michigan and Purdue. It started all the way back in 1890, and before it's over, this one may rank in the weather category.
Well, I got to tell you, if this is the classic of those people that want to sit home and yearn for the days of Lambeau Field and Bloomington, Minnesota, man, you got it today.
On the Arctic tundra. Second and 9, and it's dropped by the quarterback, Tresker, the senior from Wickliffe, Ohio. So now 3rd and long once again for the Boilermakers. Their head coach, Jim Coletto.
Well, as we mentioned at the top, Joel, 252 yards per game. A lot of that padded last week against Wisconsin when they had 2 backs go over 190 yards, nearly 400 yards rushing for Watson and Allstott. Don't look for that today simply because of the footing and the weather. A freak play or a turnover is going to win this game, Joel.
3rd and 12 now. Not exactly when you feature your fullback. Allstott, the senior from Joliet, but close to 50% on the year on their 3rd down tries. The delay for Allstott. A little more room for the punter. Pass the 35 to the 37 as he was wrapped up by the end. Jason Horn.
A minor point here, Joel. To begin the game, if you remember, number 40 had short sleeves on. He was doing the manhood thing, you know, with the short sleeve. Now all of a sudden he says, hey, discretion's the better part of Valley. Very lucky just to hold on to that football. One of the few guys that you see skill position players now in college football that does not have the tackified gloves, but the long sleeves, yes.
They like the sprint draw at Purdue, don't they?
At this point, they like anything that'll gain yardage.
So the 2nd straight, 3 and out with a punt now. Degnan.
Now, someone needs to point out to Toomer, he's too far back. Last time he was at 30 yards and it was short. Now he's standing at about 41.
And the wind is
Ball's never going to get there.
Of Degnan out of the north end zone. Dies inside the 30. So now Michigan starting in their own territory in the 28 as we check in with Mike Tirico. Back to throw, Greasy on 1st down. Remersma with a nice grab. He had the linebacker O'Connor right on his hip, but he's got it across the 35 to the 36.
You couldn't have covered any better than that. I don't understand how that ball was able to find its way in there. As you mentioned, O'Connor right in the middle of the field is right there. It's not like Remersma ran a great route. Watch the middle backer. Watch the middle backer right here. He's going to come over and be right there. He slips a little, but look where the hand is. It's right there, right on top of him. The ball still is able to sneak in there. Great concentration on the part of Remersma.
2nd and a couple. Yakapatuka close to the 1st down marker, right at the 39. Well, ESPN is your home for college football, and later today, 5 o'clock Eastern, warmer climes. Auburn heading to Georgia. 1st half of a primetime doubleheader. Then at 8 o'clock, it's Florida, number 3 in the nation, taking on the Gamecocks of South Carolina. Don't forget to catch up with all of today's scores and highlights on the Residents in College Football scoreboard at 11 o'clock Eastern.
And Danny Werfel's starting in that one, right?
He is back.
Okay.
Under 7 minutes left in the first 15 minutes of play. We'll give you down in distance as often as possible early because late it may be difficult. 1st and 10 outside of the 39. I like it. The play fake for Greasy. He had his man wide open going for Mercury Hayes, but overshot him inside the 45.
The adage goes that the offense has the advantage on a field like that simply because they know where they're going. You saw Hayes on the short post. Greasy had him plenty of time, just didn't deliver. Take a look in the middle of your field. Hayes is going to be coming from the left. Look at Greasy as a result of the play action. Plenty of time. He just overthrows him right there wide open. And a 5'11". Hayes just can't get up. He does get hit at the end, but he had a good 4.5 seconds. But took a shot there. Jamie Washell.
Yakapatuka, as usual, breaking tackles early on the run and takes it all the way to the 47 for a gain of 7. We go back now to Mike Tirico. Mike, turning things around after a sluggish beginning against UCLA in the first game of the year. Jim Coletto in Southern California, bundled up here in the Midwest. And now it's 3rd and 3 at the 47 for the Wolverines. Plenty of time for Greasy, and it draws a flag as he tried to hit Yakapatuka in the flat right at the marker. But a flag normally where you see a holding call.
like he had a little too much time there.
So Purdue will most likely decline, bringing up the punting situation. Michigan should be able to capitalize, you would think, with the wind at their back, and a big wind at that.
Holding on the offense. Decline.
I wonder if the temptation there, though, is possibly to take it if for no other reason than to get yourself some field position. Now the punter has an opportunity to get it inside the 20 and again play the field position game, Joel.
Head coach Lloyd Carr, 7-2 so far his first year as the head coach for the Wolverines. 15 seasons here, though, as an assistant under Bo Schembechler, as well as Gary Moeller, most recently defensive coordinator. And now Harris kicks it away with a flag down to the play. Bringing it back is Butterfield. And Butterfield, waiting for something to develop, gets it to the 17-yard line. And check that, Craig Allen rather bringing it back after a punt of 43 yards.
You know, Joel, even though the punters have the win, the footing is so precarious. You can see how careful they're kicking the ball. Now, if I was Purdue, I'd take that simply because you want to see if the guy can slip and fall again as a punter. If indeed they do take it, take a close look. Take a close look at how the punter is kicking. It's almost as if he's walking on eggshells. He doesn't want to slip and shank it. And Mike Allstott says yes. Pats the official on the butt and says, let's do it over again. That's what happens when you're all Big Ten. When you rush for 1,000 yards, you can pat the officials on the rear end.
And you make the call.
On the offense. Does not have 6 minutes supplemental line of scrimmage. 5 yards. Repeat 4th down.
Todd, did you like the work of the return man Allen for the mere fact that he was waiting for everybody else to slip and slide and possibly over pursue the play?
Yeah, that was. But the one thing here is that he should be standing just a little bit shorter. Right now, well, he's right at about 41 yards. That should be good. What the special teams coach should be telling him is just run up there and make the fair catch and give us some decent field position. But take a look at the footing here. Watch the punter. Very careful. Very careful.
With the wind at his back, gets into a beauty. So now Allen loses it at the 10, scrambles, and still can't get it inside the 5. Michigan has the football. Coming up with it for the Wolverines. Their linebacker, the reserve linebacker, Ben Huff, the sophomore from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Well, Peristeris does get off a terrific punt, but this is really a poor job by Allen getting after the ball. Now watch right here. He slips and falls right there. That should be an easy ball, but instead the play is made really there on the part of Mark Bullock, the offensive tackle. His hustle enables the recovery. Poor job by Allen getting the ball, but a great effort by Bullock in keeping it free so his teammate could get it.
So they took the penalty, and the punter really got into it. And it burns the Boilermakers of Purdue. So instead of the ball at their own 17 after the first punt, the gamble didn't pay off. And now the Bull backfield. As the Wolverines put William Carr in there. Carr gets it, looking for his second touchdown in as many games with the flag on the play. He takes it inside the 1.
Now they're going to move that back because of motion. And this is going to make for some interesting play calling.
Memories of the fridge. Michigan State a 3-yard touchdown run, the first of the career of William Carr.
He may not be that heavy, but he certainly moves the pile.
So Michigan picks up the mark off. It'll take it back to the 7.
Joel, I'm going to be bold here. Play action pass right here would be absolutely killer. First down, everybody's going to anticipate they're going to go inside. I think a play action pass would be a great call.
They're in the eye, tailback, Tiago Patuca. He is going to get it over to the left side and knife through. At the 6-yard line, they'll give him the 5.
O'Connor made a great tackle because if he gets past O'Connor, he just walks into the end zone. They're running behind Runyon, and he's doing an outstanding job of hammering the defensive end, but O'Connor's able to skate out and make the play.
So now 2nd and goal outside of the 5-yard line. It has brightened up considerably. Unfortunately, though, the snow is still falling. Todd mentioned, inside the 25s, treacherous footing because that was not covered over the last couple of days with all the precipitation, especially over the last 24 hours. Second and goal from outside of the 5. Good penetration. Biakabatuka losing yardage once again.
That's Aaron Hall. That was a good play there. He came completely untouched. Last year, he was their leading tackler at 109 tackles. They moved him to the weak side. Watch from the left of your screen. Hall's going to come completely untouched. Wraps up the legs of Biakabatuka. To finish that story, last year, 109 tackles, led the team in tackles. They said, look, we got this great kid, O'Keefer. We need to move him to the strong side to make more plays. You go to the weak side. Coaches said that he has not made a beef about it, just continue to play well, even though his tackle totals are down.
Last 2 years, he's been in the top 10 in tackles in the Big Ten. Then on third and goal after the loss, looking to the direction of Biakabatuka, and he almost comes up with it after they got it over the linebacker, O'Keefer.
Well, O'Keefer is upset with himself because he really should have had a pick. Brian Greasy looks to the right side and then comes back to the left, and O'Keefer was in perfect coverage. But, Joel, this is the reason why I mentioned the play action on first down. It's predictable. Now they have to throw. Watch number 34. He's right there. He looks right at him. O'Keefer misjudges this. He should have had a pick. And there's just no way Biakabatuka can come up with that catch. And now that forces another field goal. This is an absolutely great stand for the Purdue defense, Joe.
First and goal from the 2. You're exactly right. Got some help with that mark off. 5-yard penalty. A 25-yard field goal try by Hamilton. And Michigan is on the board at home. So Hamilton converts 3-0 Wolverines in the first quarter. Pat McGrath on his way to the sideline now to pilfer that heater along the Boilermakers bench. Joel Myers along with Todd Christensen. Lloyd Cars, Michigan Wolverines on a 25-yard field goal by Remy Hamilton now with a 3-0 lead, capitalizing on the Allen fumble. But that on the punt return.
Joel, I was going to say that man can't be very happy about that. You're on the 2-yard line. You got to figure that with those big horses, you're going to walk it in. Very costly penalty as a result, and Purdue has to feel pretty good about themselves coming away only down 3.
Feely kicks it away once again. It'll come over to Hagen's side this time from the 11. And with blockers, Hagen's across the 25. Nice return all the way outside the 35 to the 37-yard line. 26-yard return, and finally, good field position for the Boilermakers when we come back to Ann Arbor. They live in Ann Arbor. They see these conditions regularly, but you never really get used to it, do you?
No, and that's their best friend. I can't imagine if Bud Grant was coaching that team. He'd be screaming at them, hey, get away from those heaters.
First and 10 Boilermakers, their own 37, trailing by 3. Under 3.5 minutes left in the first quarter. Allstott losing the ball and covering it at the 38-yard line. I love what Chip Hill, the offensive coordinator, Todd, said to us a couple of days ago. He said, we talked about different formations, possibly spreading the defense. He said, I back, no back. We kind of think of that as communist football.
Communist football. Well, this is anything but. This is smash mouth football. And unfortunately for Allstott, this would have been his best run. He cuts inside. Now right here, he just drops the ball, and he has to spend time picking it up. But you could see he had some room there. If he could have held on to the ball, might have had a first down.
2nd and 9. Ball at the 38. Tretzker rolling against the grain for the southpaw, getting the block from the tight end and picking up Purdue's first down of the contest. And a nice block downfield by John Blackman.
And that's a great call by Coletta and his staff. Basically, Michigan has been packing 7 people in the box, as they say. And you can see, watch as he motions to his right. Everybody is gone. Bowens is the man who's supposed to be out there. He doesn't know whether to go after the tight end or to go after the quarterback, and in not making the immediate decision, that affords Tretzker the opportunity to cut up the field and set up shop first down in midfield.
That is his longest run of the season. First and 10 right at the midfield stripe. Watson, the tailback, and he'll see plenty of duty today because the backup Corey Rogers, the senior from Chicago, he didn't even make the trip with a sprained ankle. So basically, Allstott and Watson every step of the way today for the Boilermakers, and 5 on first down.
Well, the first couple of series, they were being dominated by Michigan, but now they're starting to go against the flow. Take a look at Watson. The hole is supposed to be on the left side. He cuts back against the grain, goes to the right, picks up 5 yards. That's what Purdue has to do. They cannot go directly at Michigan. They have to do some things that are a little more deceptive.
2nd and 5 at the 45. Johnson takes it for 2 as we head back to Mike Tirico.
I still think that was a great call. I know he didn't get in, but I still maintain that was a great call at the end of the game.
People are still talking about that game. That's the kind of game it was. 3rd and 3 now at the Michigan 43. Dredger running out of room and overshooting Blackman, the tight end. Tough footing to turn around and try to regroup that quickly.
Well, Steve King, the strong safety, was outstanding in coverage. They had the play action pass. Take a look to the left of your screen. He wants to get the tight end the ball on the cross, but right behind him you can see right here, there's King in outstanding coverage. There's nothing he can do except get rid of the ball there and set up shop for the punt. And he takes a beating there at the end. Wow, that was some shot. Flew about 4 yards in the air.
So already the 3rd punt of the day from senior Coral Springs, Florida, Rob Degman. Toomer standing outside of the 10 for the Wolverines. And a fair catch, and it's taken in outside of the 14 by Amani Toomer. We do have a flag on the play.
Now notice that in that case, Joel, what I was about to say is at that time he did. He stood right at 30 yards and said, we're just going to take the fair catch. That's exactly what he did, as opposed to letting him bounce and possibly get inside the 5.
Bianca Batuka with a single set. And on 1st down, he's into the secondary. And he's got a 1st down, 11 yards for Bianca Batuka. Brought down by Crick, the left end, the co-captain for the Boilermakers. 9 carries, 36 yards for the junior from Quebec. He is averaging 132 yards a game on the ground. That is 13th best in the nation. All-Star, as we mentioned at the top of the telecast, 12th best in the nation, 135 yards a game. Bianca Batuka belted immediately. It almost looked like Greasy had problems with the snap from the outset.
Well, good penetration on the part of Craig Williams, the right defensive end, to slow him up.
Well, the snow has subsided, fortunately, as you see Greasy squinting, looking over at the sideline for the play. And earlier, the visibility was tough, so you can understand why he was squinting. Final few seconds of the opening quarter in a 2nd and 10 situation for the Wolverines. Hall turned it in. Bianca Batuka breaks tackles. Is down the sideline.
Wow.
Forced out of bounds by the cornerback Winston, or he is gone. That's what he does so well. You can't bring him down with an arm tackle. Bianca Batuka, the big run on the final snap of the 1st quarter. The Wolverines operating in Boilermaker territory. After 1, they lead it by 3. The most popular guy at Michigan Stadium, a young millionaire in the making with the hot chocolate concession. And welcome back to a place they call the Big House. Joel Myers along with Todd Christians. 1st and 10 at the 38. And the new running back is Ed Davis, giving Bianca Batuka a bit of a break. That last run, 37-yarder for Bianca Batuka.
Well, he certainly deserves it. 11 carries for 73 yards in the 1st quarter, and this is really all on his own. Take a look at the you can see the pit right there. Take a look at the tackles that he breaks. 1, 2, and once again, he just breaks through the arm tackles, as you mentioned, Joel, showing some speed here and balance. You know, trying to get shoved out of bounds. He was able to get an extra 8 yards because he didn't go out of bounds immediately.
Davis on the carry with a couple. Call it 2nd and 8 at the 35 for Purdue. 3-0 lead for Michigan. Davis stays in there. Hammers it down to the 32, close to the 31. Brought down by the end. Williams once again. 8 straight wins for Michigan over Purdue. Last win coming in at 84 for the Boilermakers. So if there's a little ill will there, and they were jostling at the bottom of that pile, you can understand why. Last time they beat them here at Michigan Stadium, 1966.
Who is the quarterback for Purdue?
Bob Greasy.
Very good.
We're going to get into Greasy a little bit later, and obviously he's here today to watch his son. 3 very dramatic wins for Bob Greasy over Michigan. Not only was a quarterback, a lot of people forget he was kicking field goals point afters. Greasy overshooting Toomer. on 3rd and about 5.
I'm guessing that they're going to go for it. I mean, you're on the 31-yard line. You're going to punt and get an extra 11 yards.
Well, you bring up a good point because of the wind they're working into.
Right. I still think they're going to go.
Drive started back at their own 15. The offensive unit is going to stay out there for Lloyd Carr.
Fred Jackson, the offensive coordinator, you saw there talking with head coach Lloyd Carr, wasn't very happy about what he just saw. Two of them are out in single coverage. Should have been an easy catch and throw, but it wasn't.
On 4th and 5, he's got Mercury Hayes wide open. He had a big cushion on the cornerback, Derek Winston. First down, Michigan to the 19.
Much too large a cushion. Basically, they ran the exact same play to the other side with more yardage. And you're right, that was just way too much. Watch to the left of your screen when he makes the catch. Look at the gap. Winston's a good 9 yards off, and you just can't afford that. I realize that Hayes is a speedster, but you had to figure that 4th and 5, they're not going to throw into the end zone.
Batuka still on the bench after that 37-yard run. Ed Davis stays in the backfield behind George Howell. Second play of the drive that started at the 15. Davis has a huge hole. Down to the 12. Inside the 13. We check in once again with Mike Tirico. All right, Mike. Well, Virginia opened the season right here in Ann Arbor. We've seen that play just a few times. Final catch by Mercury Hayes with 4 seconds. They snap the ball.
You got to admit that was a whale of an onside kick, though.
Batuka into the backfield in a big way once again, and it's going to be 1st and goal, Michigan. Right around the 6.
You know, it's interesting. Talking with offensive coordinator Fred Jackson yesterday, he mentioned the fact that Batuka, 37 carries against a very physical Michigan State team. He said, I don't anticipate that that's going to happen again. I said, yeah, right. He had 11 carries in the first quarter. Now in his 12th carry. Take a look at the end where he ends up landing.
Splash. Just a little rain over the last day and a half here in Ann Arbor. There's the offensive coordinator for the Wolverines.
Yeah, you say that you're only going to give the guy so many carries. It's kind of like in Dallas with Emmitt Smith. No. We'll hold back. Yeah, right. When crunch time comes, you want your ball in the hands of your horse.
1st and goal. Ed Davis barely makes it back to the original line of scrimmage.
That's Jamie Washell again, and the thing that's interesting here is that this is where they struggled before. Remember, they got inside the 5, and everybody assumed it was a gimme. Not so here. Purdue rising up. How about play action here? What do you think?
You liked it on 1st down the last time, and they didn't go with it for you.
Well, 2nd down now. What do you think?
I think they're looking at it now as an option. And they split out to the wide side, so I really like it. Mercury Hayes. Ed Davis, a single set. 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. They don't like the call. Davis almost got away before Derek Brown, the free safety, helped out Crick to close it down.
I'll tell you what, Brown is making some hits this series, even though some of them have been downfield. If he doesn't make that play, Davis does a nice job spinning off and almost was able to maintain his balance and walk in, but Brown came up in the run support, and now 3rd down, it becomes incredibly predictable that you're going to throw the ball.
Just about 4 minutes gone by in the 2nd quarter. 3-0 lead for the Wolverines on a 25-yard field goal by Remy Hamilton. And now a timeout has been called by Purdue. So they get things together defensively, and we'll come right back to Ann Arbor. Looking for more as we welcome you back to Ann Arbor. Joel Myers along with Todd Christensen. Wolverines leading by 3. It doesn't get any easier for Purdue after this one. They've got Northwestern next week. So Michigan today, Northwestern next week. 2 opponents combined 15-3 for the Boilermakers of Purdue. And for Purdue to get to a bowl game, they've got to win their final 3. It's the 11th play of the drive. Started for the Wolverines all the way back at their own 15. Chris Howard, the single set. And on 3rd and goal, throwing behind Mercury Hayes. He was open in the crossing pattern, working on Derek Brown, the free safety.
Well, Hayes isn't very happy about it because they got what they wanted. They wanted the 3 wide receiver set. He comes on the crossing pattern. The crossing pattern going the other direction gets him open. There he is. He's open by about 2 steps, but the ball's behind him.
And Washell once again putting pressure on the quarterback, Greasy.
Well, again, Joel, Purdue's got to be very happy about a defensive stand here.
So now a 22-yard field goal attempt coming up for Hamilton. Johnson, the junior from Boca Raton, Florida. And it's blocked. Blocked by the Boilermakers, so they hold. And they stop a huge drive that started all the way back in the Michigan 15. I think it was Derek Winston.
Derek Winston's the one that comes off the corner, and more you're seeing that. It's amazing to me how that happens. Take a look right here from the top. He's going to come. Poor job. Look at the angle. He gets the angle that he wants, lays in. I think along with him, not only was it wasn't just Winston. I believe along with him, John Crick is the one that comes up the middle and gets a piece of it too. Boy, that defense is excited, and justifiably so.
So now 1st and 10 Purdue. Still only a 3-point lead for Michigan. They've enjoyed the great field position, but they have not taken advantage of the situations.
Well, the yards right there certainly dictate that they've been dominating the game, but as you mentioned, it's only 3-zip.
Watson, the tailback, one of the best runs of the day. Across the 15 and 18, gets 7 on 1st down. ESPN's presentation of college football is being brought to you by Video Guide, the on-TV program guide with news, weather, and sports. It's about time. And by Buick and your local Buick dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. So a pick-me-up for the Boilermakers from their defensive unit. Now does it carry over to the offensive unit? 2nd and 3 after the 7-yard pickup by Ed Watson. Watson's number again. He won't make it the marker. Barely makes it back to the line. Off in there. He recovered that fumble down at the 2 after the muff by Craig Allen. Other scores around the Big Ten. Saw Northwestern with an early 3-0 lead over Iowa. And Northwestern riding some kind of high now.
Well, yeah, but you know what? With regards to Northwestern, I'm really getting weary of people talking about whether or not it's a fluke that they're at the top of the standing. I broadcast their game against Wisconsin. It's not a fluke. They play some serious defense. And Darnell Autry is as good as any runner in the country.
390 yards on the ground. Almost like Autry kind of numbers for Northwestern. And they bury Trenskett. Looking the wrong way. He is annihilated by Jason Horn, the defensive end.
Jason Horn was somebody who had been defensive tackle the first 4 games of the season. Now they get him back at defensive tackle to pass rush, and now he gets his 9th sack. He had 8 in the first 4 games, none in the last 3. Ouch. Take a look at this shot. Oh man, that hurts. That really hurts. Oh.
So while he's trying to get away from Sam's sword, excuse me, Jason Horn is there. 3 and out once again. Dickman back at his own goal line. Amani Toomer at the midfield stripe. And it gets away from Toomer inside the 40. Nice roll. As it's touched down at the 31. So Michigan gets it back, but surprisingly, with the field position they've had, they only lead it by 3. Michigan has it 1st and 10 at their own 31, but they are only up by 3. And I say only because Purdue offensively has had it 4 times, 3 and out with a punt, and the Boilermakers have only picked up 1 first down thus far. Biagabatuka up the middle, 4-4 to the 35.
Well, and also you have to point out the fact, Joel, that twice now they've been inside the 5-yard line, and instead of coming away with a possible 14 points, they've only come away with 3. A lot of credit has to go to that Purdue defense.
How much residual effect on a loss to your arch rival, especially last Saturday at Michigan State?
Well, you know, when I was chatting with Fred Jackson, the offensive coordinator for Michigan, he made the point that while everybody says that maybe their rivalry was Ohio State or Penn State, he said that it's a very serious rivalry with Michigan State. It's an in-state deal, and as a result, I think you're right. I think there is some lingering effect to that.
4 on first down for Biagabatuka, who stays in the backfield. Gets it once again, 2nd and 6. Buried in the backfield. Greg Smith, outstanding play for the junior from Chicago. Well, don't forget ESPN2's complete college football coverage continues later today. Scores, highlights, interviews. Sports Night College Football Edition coming your way at 6 and then at 7. Wisconsin led by running back Carl McCullough. Quarterback Darrell Bevel. They battle the Golden Gophers of Minnesota. Get the Paul Bunyan Axe game. College football all coming your way later today on ESPN2. Both teams have had their problems so far on third downs. Combined 0 for 9. And now it's a 3rd and 6 coming up for the Wolverines. Plenty of time for Greasy. Now that was thrown behind as they call it an incomplete pass behind Greasy. Ed Davis couldn't get his hands on it as it was off his fingertips. Well, that was almost like a lateral.
It was close. It was close. You get a chance to see it. Watch where his feet are. Right there. They're right at about the 30-yard line. And so, no, that's a forward pass. Good call by the official. But for whatever reason, Brian Greasy's accuracy is non-existent today. Certainly a lot of that has to do with the weather. But he's had some people open. He just hasn't been able to get him the ball.
It is going to be Oliver Dottie instead of Allen this time. Oh, Paris barely got a piece of it. What a break for Purdue. On the exchange, they get it back now. 1st and 10 when we return at their own 46. Tough way for Paul Paris to go to the bench after a punt like that. Not many guys talking to him right now. The punt leaves it at the 46 for the Boilermakers. Joel Myers, Todd Christensen back in Ann Arbor. That's field position to start the drive so far today for Purdue. Watson the tailback. And a yard is all he's going to get. Irons, the Butkus Award finalist, over there to make the play.
Well, you mentioned that punt. Take a look at where his foot hits the ball. It's slowed down and very slow. Watch right here at the end. Watch the ball hits. Look at the wind move it, and he hits it right at the end. Those of you that are hardcore football followers remember some 10 years ago when Sean Landeta of the Chicago Bears actually whiffed in a playoff game against the Giants. So I guess from the positive standpoint, he didn't whiff, Joel. At least he got a piece.
So now 2nd and 9.
Speaking of a piece, look at a piece of the turf there in Watson's face mask.
And Watson is not bothered by it, but he loses the ball, and it's picked off in midair by the Wolverines, and it looked like David Bowen's coming up with it.
I think Bowen's got the ball, but the guy that made the hit, I believe it might have been Zinkowitz that made the hit. Interesting that they're going to Watson here as opposed to Alstott, Joel. I wonder if they mentioned that he'd been banged up last week. Take a look right in the middle. Pretty good hole right at the end of the plate. Right here coming in. No, my mistake. It was King, the strong safety, who gets a piece of that.
17, Clarence Thompson, I believe, got his helmet on it.
You're right. Nice hole. Right there. King is the one that gets knocked off, and you're right. It's Thompson who comes over with the elbow and pops it up, and Bowens is able to make the recovery.
So Michigan on the 2nd turnover now by Purdue. Great field position, 1st and 10. Working into the wind at their own 40-yard line. Greasy's in trouble, and Greasy goes down. The sack is there for Leo Perez. We go back to Mike Tirico. All right, Mike. 2nd and 17 now. Michigan up by 3. And Amani Toomer on the grab, getting back to the original line of scrimmage. Brought down by the free safety, Derek Brown.
Well, this may not have done a lot in terms of yardage, but I think it did a lot for Greasy's confidence to finally get the ball out to the wide receiver, Amani Toomer. Toomer lucky just to come up with the ball, and now they come up 3rd and 10.
First aid, please.
Tough position for the quarterback to be in with the wind in his face and the struggles that he's had here in the first half, Joel.
The wind continues to whip from the north end of Michigan Stadium to the south end, and the snow is back as well. So that complicates matters. 3rd and 10. They're 0 for 6 on the 3rd down. Tries it. Here comes the reverse for Mercury Hayes. He's got blockers. He's got a 1st down. Hayes at the 47 of Purdue, and that was what they were concerned with. They said, you know, Bianca Batuk is going to hammer you for his yards, but the finesse game of Michigan scared Purdue.
Well, you know, Joel, they did a great job setting this up. This isn't a really great job of running on the part of Hayes. Take a look at all the bodies. Now watch, he gets out here, and there's nothing but maize and blue and about 2 white shirts. Now stay to the outside. Instead, he actually bumps into his quarterback, Greasy, who's trying to help him downfield, and as a result, Hayes gets knocked down a lot sooner than he should have.
Cars out of the freeway doing a similar routine right now. These conditions. And the running back, Chris Howard, losing his footing in the backfield, and a loss of a couple of yards resulting. He's a sophomore, River Ridge, Louisiana. We've already seen 3 out of the tailback spot for Lloyd Carr today.
Well, they're trying to keep their interest. You know, it's kind of tough when you practice all week and don't get an opportunity to get in the game, but evidently they feel that that they're really trying to give Biaka Batuga a break.
Davis and Howard have seen some snaps. Davis, extensive work already in the first half. 2nd and 12. Gracie almost lost it. This is Davis. He's back to the line. The original line. It'll bring up 3rd and 10. O'Keefe for the outside backer. In on that hit. Leads the Boilermakers in tackles.
Take a look at the snap here. He almost drops it. Actually, that's a pretty good catch to get it on the way down. Otherwise, that could have been a disaster. Now 3rd and 10. It'll be interesting, Joel, to see what they come up with in terms of bag of tricks. Obviously, the passing attack has struggled with the reverse or flea flicker, something along those lines. Who knows?
They just finally converted on their first 3rd down on a 3rd and 10. This is also a 3rd and 10. The reverse with Toomer looking for Hayes, and now he's got the boundary. Greasy should be able to get the first down marker, and he doesn't make it. Wow. O'Keefer beat him to the punch.
Boy, I tell you, that is a great piece of linebacking. They go with the fake reverse, and they've got Hayes as the only guy out there on the route. Take a look, you can see Hayes on the post. They fake the reverse. He's the only guy. They have great protection, but they have it in coverage. Now watch O'Keefer, who's in the middle, come flying across. It looks like Greasy's going to get the first down, as you mentioned, Joel. But boy, that's a great athletic play.
So O'Keefer coming up big, and now another decision. And it looks like Michigan, after deliberating for an extra few seconds, is going to bring on their special teams and punt the ball away. And it's going to be Paris once again punting, not Nathan DeLong, the sophomore, who has seen extensive activity as the punter as well. They get Olivedati, the wide receiver, on late. Delay of game. Field position-wise, no big deal for the Wolverines. Well, kicking into the wind.
I would say you might be right, except for after that 18-yard punt last time. I'm not so sure.
On the offense, 5-yard penalty.
Well, our referee today, you can understand the conditions taking their toll on just about everybody. He sounds out of breath. So Michigan leads it by 3. Down to the 2-minute mark of the opening half. Will they come after Paris after that last punt? No, they'll set up for the return. A little bit better, but not much. Dies into the wind. And they'll come up with it now. 1st and 10 at their own 26 after only a 17-yard punt. So we do have a timeout on the field. Purdue, final opportunity in the first half. He can barely see. She can't stand to watch. Welcome back to Ann Arbor. Real men, real football. Joel Myers, Todd Christensen. Purdue has it. 2:02 left in the first half. Snow continues to gust around the winds of 30, 35 miles an hour. And Trevster goes down. They came with the corner blitz, and Thompson got there. Well, ESPN, ESPN2, basketball games on ESPN and ESPN2 this year. We are ready to go. Be right back to Ann Arbor. 3-0 lead. Stop the clock after the sack of the big loss. Todd, why did they go to play action on first down?
I was curious to see that as well. I would think that they would just run out the clock down 3, bad field position. I would guess here they're going to run.
Only the 5th carry of the half for Allstott. Across the 25 to 26, it'll bring up 3rd and long. By his absence, Allstott has been very noticeable after 36 carries last week, a career best, as Michigan calls another timeout. Stop it with a minute 41 left in the half. He has a bad ankle, a bruised thigh, but as his coaches told us earlier in the week, he'd play with 2 broken ankles.
Yeah, everybody says the same thing. The one word that kept coming up with regards to Allstott was throwback. I heard that over and over again where that young man was concerned. I would have been thinking by now we'd have already been talking about him as the all-time Purdue rusher. Only 5 carries for 12 yards thus far, needing 35 to go past him heading into this game. Now Michigan calls their 2nd timeout, and depending upon the punt, which has been an absolute adventure today, be interesting to see what happens.
And with the timeout, let's take it to Mike Tirico. Mike.
Hayden Fry's comments heading into the Northwestern game. I thought that interesting after 21 straight victories. Kind of a psychological thing working, didn't you think?
Tough guy, tough customer. 3rd and a dozen. A little more than 11, almost 12. Back outside of the 25. Dead ball foul coming up against the offense. Minute 40 left in the half. Michigan wants it back. Zitelli, the right guard, may have lifted up early.
Well, again, I don't understand this. More than likely, your chances of 3rd and 12 are not good. Force them to take their last time out, give Allstott the ball, and
Clock operator, put 141 on the clock. 141. We have a dead ball. Ball start on the offense.
Jim Coletto has to be pleased with the respect that his offense has done nothing so far, and he is still only down by 3.
Yeah, don't forget, we mentioned this earlier. This is a team that ran off nearly 400 yards of rushing last week, close to 600 yards in total offense. But this goes to show what a difference that we can make.
So now make a 3rd and a long 16, almost 17. Long count by Tretzker, doesn't get him offside. Goes with the counter, and not much there for Watson. Outstanding play by Sword. Redshirt freshman from Saginaw. So now Michigan stops it for a final time in this first half.
You're right. Sword comes across because here, if he's not able to make that tackle, he's going to cut upfield and get some extra yardage. Sword, normally a reserve, is making some great plays today.
So now the punting situation, fortunately for Purdue, Degnan will have the wind at his back, and it is a good wind at about 25 to 30 miles an hour. Stiff breeze today in Ann Arbor. Don't forget, coming up in just a couple of minutes with Mike Tirico, the Office Max halftime report. Northwestern trailing early in their ball game at home to Iowa. There was snow on the ground. Talked to Chicago this morning. They had about 4 inches, I believe, out in the suburbs of wet snow. So not exactly the ultimate conditions there. Florida State already up early. And Miami looking solid, looking for their 6th consecutive win. Michael fill you in on all those stories. Now the scores and the highlights as well. What a year it has been for the Big Ten. 4 teams currently right now in the top 10. The latest poll. Amani Toomer waits inside the 35. The only clean uniform, that's Degnan. A wobbler with the wind at his back. Break for Michigan. Toomer will stay away.
Well, actually, as it turned out, it was a break for Purdue. Not only did the roll turn into a longer punt, but that takes some time off the clock.
You could see the effect the wind had even when it hit the ground. It rolled for an extra 10-15 yards. So now it's back outside of the 33 for the Wolverines. This is going to be their 7th possession offensively. The first 30 minutes of play. They're only scoring a 25-yard field goal by Remy Hamilton, but if you joined us late, that was on their 3rd series. As Greasy was only 3 of 9. Real struggle for him to throw the ball today. He's had a couple of receivers open, but on that possession, it was a Craig Allen fumble on a punt by Michigan, and the Wolverines covered it at the 2-yard line, but they could not get it into the end zone after they picked up a 5-yard penalty on first down, and then it made it 1st and goal from the 7. Bryce Bond, starting quarterback for the Wolverines this year, unfortunately suffered ligament damage in his thumb of his throwing hand, and it happened during practice, catching his thumb on the jersey of a teammate. So his season is over. Greasy will go the remainder of the way and throws it behind his intended target there. So he wanted Chris Howard, the tailback, just a little bit late.
And just a little bit off for whatever reason. I mean, this just isn't that hard of a throw right there. And you're right, it's a little bit behind. Certainly a catchable ball, but Greasy would certainly like to have that one back and lead him.
The timing continues to be off for Brian Greasy, the sophomore from Columbus High School in Miami. His dad is here calling the game on a local radio station, in fact. 2nd and 10. All day, and again he throws it behind, and it should be intercepted, is it? Yes. Picked off by Aaron Hall off the deflection. Hall, the senior from Wayne, New Jersey. Check, yes, he is a senior from Wayne, New Jersey.
Well, this play seemed to take an awful long time to develop. You see Hayes is coming on the flag route, tries to throw it, batted up in the air, and Hall, Johnny on the spot. Nice catch.
Jamel Coleman with the deflection.
Yeah, really made the play. You're right. Coleman was in outstanding coverage and hustling over his haul. And so now at the 43-yard line with 2 timeouts left, Purdue has a chance to get in and make something happen, which they certainly didn't expect.
Talked with Hall's parents at dinner last night. He's a true freshman, and he's getting snaps for Purdue. His dad said, called me after the Notre Dame game, his freshman season. He goes, Dad, last year the same week I'm playing West Orange, New Jersey High School. Today I was running through the tunnel at Notre Dame. Tretzker is buried in the backfield again. Getting to him, Bowens, the backer, the outside backer, and another sack.
Well, the play-action fake is supposed to fool Bowens because they don't have anybody on him. There's nobody there to block him. Take a look at the top of your screen, number 6. Here he comes in. Nobody touches him. Maybe it was Allstott that was supposed to come out and get a piece of him, but Bowens is not fooled, and as a result, he comes completely untouched and nails Tretzker.
So now Purdue stops the clock with 51 seconds left. Real struggle for both quarterbacks just to come away from their centers cleanly so far today.
Yeah, it really has been.
It is going to be second, not quite 20, but 2nd and 18 coming up.
One thing I've never understood, though, with regards to this situation, you're on the 42-yard line. There's less than a minute left. Who's fooled by a play-action pass? You know, everybody in the stands knows that you have to throw in this situation. Why do you go with that? Because what happens is that when a backer like that, who's coming completely untouched, he's not fooled at all, and now you have the big loss as opposed to dropping back and saying, hey, look, you know we're going to throw here. Why with the play-action?
Jim Coletto in his 5th year at Purdue. 5 years before that, head coach at Cal State Fullerton, looking for his first win against the Wolverines of Michigan. His offensive coordinator, Tim Salem, making those calls. Let's see if they get away from the play action on 2nd and long. Don't take that extra time. Allstott, Watson, the 2 in the backfield. This time it is a straight drop, and Allstott can't get down to get it. You can see him shake his hands like wet and cold.
Well, he ended up on a delay route. Basically, that's what that was. They wanted to delay, catch the ball, get back the yardage that they had lost, but he slipped and fell. Tretzker's under a lot of pressure. There's William Carr, the fridge replica, with his specialty.
He hasn't been able to get too many away today, has he?
No, 1 for 3 and only 2 yards. Now what you call Marino-like numbers.
Forgettable first half so far for the Purdue offensive unit. And now 3rd and 18. Bad snap. Tretzker has a man. And it's inside the 35 as he finally found Brian Alford, his leading target this year.
Well, this is 4-down territory. It's going to come up 4th and 2, and I think they're going to use their timeout and make a decision as to what to do. You can see the snap actually hits him in the butt. Tretzker does a good job snapping up, and for all the conditions, what a tough throw this is. He's got to go over the backer right in the middle of the field, and after all the struggles that you had just documented about the passing game, he makes a tremendous throw.
And what a thrill for Brian Alford, a young man who grew up in the Detroit suburb of Oak Park, to come up with a big...
Or can you call 2 plays, give it to Allstott or Watson, get the first down, and then hustle back up to the line of scrimmage and throw? This puts a lot of pressure on the defense because it isn't a given here. You'd think that, well, maybe we have to roll out pass or throw a hook pattern, but they don't. If they can get 2 plays called here, they can get away with the run and come back with the throw.
And if they get the first down with the run, as you say, everybody's fairly close to the line still, and they get the clock stopped for the movement of the chains. And they've got the punter Dignan on the field, which could really be a shot. Although they're going to go for a long field goal. With the wind at their back, they're going for a 52-yarder now with Brad Bobich. He is 9 of 11 on the year, the senior from Greenfield, Indiana. It'll be a 52-yard attempt out of the hole of the punter Dignan.
Man, I am really surprised at this. I know he's 9 of 11, but...
The exchange is good. The low line drive can be close, though. So now Michigan gets it back with 30 seconds left on the clock.
You know, the reason I don't like that, besides the fact that they missed the field goal, what does that say about the confidence in your offense, Joel? I mean, it's kind of a subtle thing to the quarterback and the rest of the people. Hey, 4th and a long one, 30-some seconds left. Certainly we can get a little bit closer. That kick didn't have a chance. Remember, Remy Hamilton, a career 82% kicker who does have the leg for a 50-yarder, wasn't even close earlier. Everything's fine in terms of the hold and everything else, but the footing's not as good. The elements are just not conducive to making that kind of kick.
But how do you really feel about the call, Todd?
Well, I don't understand it. I'm just telling you, as a former offensive player, when you get in that situation, you're saying, come on, give us a chance, give us a chance. What are the chances of making a 52-yard field goal? Slim and none.
So the one snap, the knee, and now the officials are going to say that will be the final play of the first half. So tough conditions to play football and anything else as we head back to the studio. Michigan by 3, and let's head back now to Mike.
Michigan leads by 3. Don't touch the remote.
Conditions have dominated the scene as we welcome you once again to Ann Arbor, Michigan. Joel Myers along with Todd Christensen. Our halftime score 3-0, the Wolverines of the Boilermakers of Purdue. The only scoring so far in the first 30 minutes of play, a 25-yard field goal by Remy Hamilton, the junior from Boca Raton, Florida, for Michigan. He had one blocked as well in the first half of play. It was a 22-yard attempt as the Purdue defense came up big and really helped out the offensive unit. Twice, Michigan inside the 10-yard line with first and goal situations, but they couldn't find the end zone. So our halftime score once again, Michigan 3, Purdue 0. We'll be right back with the second half right after this. So Michigan is going to kick it away. The wind to the back of the place kicker doesn't mean much on this knuckleball though. And Luke Johnson will take it from the 8. And Johnson with a solid return across the 25 gives the Boilermakers first down at the 27. Well, interesting that Purdue is going to have the wind at their back in the fourth quarter, as it turns out, that Michigan didn't elect to kick it the other way and take the win for the final 15 minutes of play.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. Take a look at the comparison between the two. Allstott has been a non-factor in the first half. Biaka Batuka nearly 100 yards already. That one scintillating 37-yard run down the sideline, the bulk of that yardage.
Surprised you a little bit?
Biaka Batuka's numbers, no. Allstott's, yes. Yeah, really did. I thought he'd have bigger numbers.
At the 27, it's a first down. Allstott breaking the initial tackle in the backfield for a yard to 28. Sam Sword. Well, the first one in to wrap him up. You know, I am surprised, though, that they're not taking the win for the fourth quarter, but here in the third quarter.
Well, what the theory behind this is the way they started the game, which was 3 and out. And if the punter can only get one, say, to midfield of the 45, Biaka Batuka takes off a couple of chunks, and they can punch in the end zone. 10-0 on a day like this could be insurmountable.
The wind is not just moving the flags, it's bending the poles today. You can see the uprights doing the same to the big, thick flagpole next to the uprights at the south end. 2nd and 8. Give Allstott a couple of first down. Treacherous footing. You can see a little gingerly on his footing as he gets a couple of more up to the 30. And we head back to the studio now, and Mike Tirico. It would be a huge upset considering the way Iowa performed at home last week against Illinois right here on ESPN. Now 3rd and 6 outside of the 30 for the Boilermakers. Tretzker has a receiver, and it's out of Adani. He loses it. Allstott, Johnny on the spot. He's got it for the first down at the 41.
He really was. You know, you look at that situation into the wind. Boy, that's a tough throw. Tretzker does a great job. He does a tremendous job. It's just going to be a basic hook pattern. Right here at the bottom, he's going to come across, just settle down, tough throw into the wind. Now he's going to get the helmet on the ball. Allstott hustling behind is able to get the fumble. You know, they're always talking about the fact that this is a throwback guy, somebody who does not quit, who gives his all in every play. He certainly could have been loafing there and not been there. Instead, he's hustling behind the play, prevents a turnover.
1st and 10. That's the first time they've converted on a 3rd down today. Tretzker with time. And he's got a receiver picked off by Woodson. Woodson inside the 40 on the interception. And the true freshman from Fremont, Ohio, has his 3rd interception of the season.
And the head coach, Jim Coletta, is the one that got hit in the eye there at the end of the play. I hope he's all right. But that's a great play by Woodson. Two factors as to why he was able to pick that ball off. One, certainly the wind slows down the velocity of the football. And the second thing, he's a left-hander rolling right. Take a look. Remember, this is the play that earlier he had run for 13 yards so effectively. Now he has the same situation. The man appears open, but Woodson, you can see the ball slowing down going into the wind. Woodson able to pick it off, gets knocked out of bounds right into the coach. Take a look at the foot. Ooh, look at that.
Foot came up.
Foot came up and caught him in the eye.
We'll give you an update, and hopefully Jim Coletta is okay on the Purdue bench. Be right back to Ann Arbor. They've been working feverishly in the corner of Jim Coletta to close that little mouse under his eye. Fortunately, he is okay.
Look at the end of the play. You can see Woodson's cleat come up. Watch, it catches him right in the eye. Now watch his reaction. You can see he's going to grab his eye. He's obviously in a fair amount of pain.
Chris Floyd, the single set, takes it on 1st down for the Wolverines. He gets 3, almost 4.
That was a rarity. You don't often see the fullback make the catch. You can't. Now he's very upset. You wonder if it's because he's in pain or because of the interception. Actually, if you saw earlier, they put a Band-Aid on it, Joel, and he just ripped it right off. Said, no, I'm tough. I can handle it.
He is a tough customer. 2nd and 6 now, outside of the 33. So we welcome you back to Ann Arbor after the pick by the cornerback Woodson. Great field position for new territory for the Wolverines. And the bobble by the running back Chris Howard loses a couple, almost 3 yards, back to the 36. And we remind you, ESPN's presentation of college football is being brought to you this afternoon by Saab, who invites you to find your own road. Now, you talk about a true home field advantage. New jerseys at halftime for the Michigan Wolverines, so they get the soggy, wet ones off. Purdue does not have that same luxury.
And that is a factor, because you go in at halftime and it's wet and it's cold, and that doesn't warm up. You can stand the heater all you want.
3rd and 9. Play action for Greasy. Trying to find his footing, and it's poked away by the linebacker O'Connor as they wanted Mercury Hayes. So the nice deep drop by the middle linebacker, and Bob O'Connor, as the coach has told us, the heartbeat of this squad.
And he does a great job, but the thing is they've only got 2 guys out in the pattern. You can see both tight ends stay in to block. Look at all the white shirts. Now as he throws the middle, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white shirts and only 2 black shirts, maize shirts, or blue shirts rather, hello. Actually it's six white shirts and only 2 blue shirts.
Boilermakers are worried about a flag deep in the secondary though.
Dead ball foul, personal, on the defense. After the 4th down play was over, we will penalize it. It'll be 1st down, Purdue.
And it was actually 3rd and long. 3rd and 9, but they penalized Purdue, and what a huge break for the Wolverines.
Well, there's a big argument in the secondary. You can see now off the side is Derek Brown, the free safety. He's the one that's been putting some serious hits on some people. I wonder if he's ejected, Joel.
So now they take it down to the 21. 1st down Michigan to keep the drive alive. Otherwise a punting situation on 4th and 9. And Davis, not Biakapatuka, but Davis for 3, almost 4. Brought down by Aaron Hall, the outside linebacker.
They have to wonder what the situation is with Biakapatuka, because Joel, you had to figure that halftime he had plenty of time to rest. Comes out in the 1st series, and they had 2 different tailbacks, both reserve tailbacks starting. I wonder if he's banged up a little bit.
Talked to Bruce Monty, the SID here at Michigan, who said he was a little bit nicked up, and that's probably why they didn't use him around the goal line, and they used Ed Davis. That second situation where they had 1st and goal. So now 2nd and 7. Call on the 18. Davis again. Not much available on the left side. Washell quickly over there with Crick, the co-captain. Other Big Ten scores. As ACC.
You know, if you're the defensive member of this Purdue team, you got to be saying, please, offense, you got to do something. They've been spending, it seems like, you know, the entire game on the field, getting beat up by that big offensive line of Michigan, and yet at this point they're still hanging tough.
Well, a couple of first downs in the first half for Purdue. You're right, that defense has been out there a lot. Here comes 3rd and long. Greasy in trouble. Can he run for the first down? No, he will not get there unless he gets a real favorable spot. He was put down at the 12. They'll mark it just inside the 12. Hall caught up with him. The outside backer once again, and another co-captain.
He's been having a big game today, not just the interception, but the big tackles he has made. Number 39 for Purdue has been outstanding.
Bob Greasy with the hat on, watching his son, Brian, at a 4th down situation. They're going to go for it. So the former Boilermaker, it's an unusual situation, working on the Wolverine radio broadcast. 4th and less than a yard.
Carr is the fullback. Got the big defensive lineman there at fullback, Joel.
And it's going to be Carr spinning for the first down inside the 11.
Now I got to tell you that it may not seem like a big deal, because you've seen that happen a lot of times with running backs. But that's a 275, 280-pound man who was able to make a very athletic play in spinning off and getting it. Take a look in the middle. He's gonna collide, and you figure that that's all he's in there for, is just to run straight ahead. But he runs up the back of the center, spins, and makes the 360 and gets the first down. If he does not make the spin, it's Purdue football.
Did he leave early, or is that just me?
He's trying to show off his quickness. In the film, he'll be able to tell everybody, I'm the quickest of the 3 backs.
And Davis, he's sitting in a set in a 2 tight end formation. And he just follows that big wall in front of him down to the 6-yard line for a gain of close to 5. Washell finally getting to the running back, but not much of a hole, just the surge.
Well, the indication here, Joel, is, as I mentioned earlier, is that he's got to be getting a little bit fatigued.
Cold day, wet day to be out there that long, and they were on the field for most of the first half. Just about 6 minutes gone by in the 3rd quarter, a 3-0 lead for Michigan. They can pick up a first down just inside the 1. Akabatuka stays on the sideline, and Davis stays in the backfield. And Greasy drops it and finally covers it back near the 9. He's had problems all day long coming away from the center with the ball. Didn't see this kind of weather playing for Columbus High School in Miami, did
No, not at all. See if he comes back a little bit early. He did. He just didn't get the snap, and actually he's lucky to get it at all, because he's colliding there with his lineman. His father not terribly happy with what he's seen.
So now 3rd and 8 back at the 9-yard line. Wide receiver formation. And trouble. And Greasy goes down. Washell gets to him. So once again, they get it inside the 10 all the way down to the 6, only to be turned away by a very stout effort by the defensive unit.
And Jamie Washell is just having an outstanding football game at defensive tackle. Look at that. It's a double team right in the middle. He fights off both the center and the guard and outruns the quarterback. He's able to get to Greasy. Great effort on the part of number 51, Jamie Washell.
So now 34-yard field goal try coming up for Remy Hamilton. The holder really important with conditions like they are today. Remersman, the tight end.
And don't forget, last time it was blocked.
Missed into this one and pulls it wide left. So once again, they come away empty deep in Purdue territory. Don't capitalize on the Woodson pick. And it's still the Boilermakers down by only 3. Well, the Purdue players can definitely draw inspiration from their head coach. One of the trainers tried to put a Band-Aid on Jim Coletto, almost out of Blazing Saddles. We don't need these stinking Band-Aids. 1st and 10, Boilermakers at their own 20. Allstott waiting for a hole to develop. It was never there. And that's been the story for Allstott all day long. Irons the first one over there.
The hold is okay. I prefer the 1-finger hold because of the compression of the ball, but watch the left foot of Hamilton. Watch it skid just a little as it plants. See as it skids a little bit and he's just a little bit off. That's what caused him to hook it.
Tough day for Remy Hamilton. Came in 14 of 18 on the season. Strong numbers. He's only 1 of 4 today. Let's face it, though, rotten conditions at Michigan Stadium.
And coming into today, had a career 82%. Outstanding kicker, All-American last year.
2nd and 10. Tretzker with some time, trying to go underneath the tight end Blackman, but incomplete. "127 consecutive games Michigan Stadium has had better than 100,000 people in the stands." To give you an idea of how tough these weather conditions are. I don't know if we have 55,000 on hand today. 3rd and 10. Back at the Boilermakers 20. Allstott. Again, good penetration to the backfield. And coming up, David Bowens. He didn't make the stop, but he's definitely slowed him down.
Well, of course, Jared Irons is in on the play as well. What Purdue tried to do there was spread some people out. They flexed Watson out at a flanker, but it didn't fool number 37, Jared Irons. And I'm surprised you haven't brought this up, Joel. Yes, I did play with your dad, Gerald. So you know, great linebacker, number 86 for the Oakland Raiders, and later with the Cleveland Browns. His son following in his footsteps. I tell you what, boy, his dad, Gerald, had some guns on him. I mean, he had some biceps, Jack. I mean, he was put together.
Egnan into punt once again. He's been the busiest Boilermaker. So another 3 and out for the Purdue offense. Devontae Toomer waits. And another knuckleball. So Michigan's going to have great field position. We'll spot it at the 37. And Coletto can't believe it. My kind of guys.
Is it just me, or is it Dallas? Is Dallas 8-1 and the rest of the league 5-4? It just feels that way, doesn't it, a little bit?
A strange year in the NFL.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
There seems to be about 6 or 8 teams, and then a huge drop-off for the rest of the NFL. On 1st down, Greasy dumping it. Toomer waiting for the block. Almost got the big kick out, blocked from the center, Rod Payne. Still, he takes it down to the 28, and that's a big play in a game where there have been very few plays of more than 7-8 yards. Bianca Batuka, we understand, has a calf strain. They think he may be able to return, but right now, it's back by committee, and Clarence Williams is in there.
This is a great play for a lot of reasons. One, they haven't done it. It gets the ball in Toomer's hands, so he doesn't get discouraged, and it's a very safe pass to reestablish Greasy's confidence.
So now 2nd and short. How often have we said that today for either team? 2nd and a yard. And the new back, you can tell, he's got a real clean jersey. Clarence Williams, a true freshman out of Cass Tech in Detroit. Picks up the 1st down inside the 27 to the 26. Brought down by Bob O'Connor.
Well, if nothing else, Bianca Batuka's got to be feeling good about the fact that it's taken now, what, 4 or 5 different guys to replace him. I mean, they've been throwing in all sorts of fresh bodies.
Frustration has got to set in, though, if Michigan can't come away with points. It's the 2nd consecutive drive in this half. They've started to the Purdue 37.
Yeah, the odds have to be in the favor of Tretzker and Purdue to at least get something mounted. And the way things are going, if they get one drive mounted and stick it in the end zone, well, they'd be up.
Williams getting the call, weaving his way nicely up the middle. Down inside the 25, close to the 21. And Washell wrapped up the running back.
Well, you know what? They say he may be back. I'm sorry, I don't see it. I mean, if the guy's got the jacket on right here with his team on offense, only up 3-0, he's not out there, I don't like his chance of getting back in the game.
So essentially you're saying he's got everything but his pads off.
Well, but that's the football thing. You still keep your pads on because you're a part of the group. I've never understood that.
4:15 counting. Michigan by 3. Greasy looking on the quick out. Turned in for Toomer. And he can't hang on. Not a bad throw at all, though, by Brian Greasy. Don't forget, coming up later, Todd and I will be selecting the Kelly Springfield players of the game. Special teams definitely could determine the outcome of this one. So now big 3rd down for Greasy in the offensive unit. 3rd and 6. Haven't had a lot of success on 3rd down so far today. They're only 1 of 11. hasn't hit a pass on a third down today. The delay. Big hole for Thompson. He's got the first down to the 15. And check that Clarence Williams with the first down run brought down by Bob O'Connor.
That's a good call. It's a good call. They've been ineffective throwing the ball, come back with the draw. Look at the offensive line of Michigan creating a big gap in the middle. O'Connor falls off to make the tackle, but not before he gets the first down. It's a good call by Fred Jackson. Right in the middle.
So deep penetration again for the Wolverines. Can they finally capitalize on the great field position, though? Williams belted in the backfield. Craig Williams got in early, the right end.
Williams carried.
He's a senior.
It's almost as if,
Illinois.
you know what? It's almost like Pavlov's dog here, Joel. I mean, they give up the yardage, and all of a sudden they get inside the 10, and Purdue gets overly aggressive and anticipates what's happening. Comes the top of your speed. Look at that. You're right. Boy, he fought off Runyon, and Runyon, potential All-American candidate. And from what I hear, a lot of people seem to feel like this is a left tackle that could be in the first 2 rounds of the draft.
Definitely beat Runyon with an inside move there. So now 2nd and 10 back at the 15. Plenty of time for Greasy. Mercury Hayes underneath. Finds Lake Michigan.
And look, he was doing the butterfly. That was funny. Bob O'Connor did an outstanding job of bumping him as he came across the field. Hayes runs the hook. Watch the middle of your field. Watch number 66. He's going to bump Hayes, but he can't run with him. Obviously, he's not called Mercury for nothing, and he's able to run away. Now, as O'Connor and Hall knock him out of bounds, splash. I give it a 5-2.
We won't call you the Russian judge. I liked it better than that. 3rd and long now. 3rd and 7 from the 12. The delay. Good moves. Can he get there? Touchdown, Michigan and Clarence Williams. But there is a flag at the offensive line. So one goes the Boilermakers' way, as the penalty is going to be marked off against the Wolverines and deny them that touchdown.
Well, you knew that one right away, Joel, simply because it was the referee, not the umpire, that threw the flag. It's interesting because Brian Greasy tried to debate. Watch right here. Take a look at the grab. He's got a hold of him. Now watch as he tries to come up. Right there when he can't get his right arm out and he gets the takedown. That's what the official sees. Watch him try to get the right arm out. It doesn't come out, and as a result, that's what the official sees. Zach Adamy is the one who gets called for the hold.
Other scores in college football today. So Michigan denied. Can they come up big on a 3rd and 17? Inside of 3 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Don't forget they've got the wind at their back for just 15 minutes of play. Toomer on the lateral pass, looking for Hayes, puts it up for grabs, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Jamel Coleman. So the razzle-dazzle doesn't fool the Boilermakers.
Not only didn't fool the Boilermakers, they had 2 different people that could have picked that off. Yeah, I really hate that play, and here's why. You got a situation to where you're not going to get the first down anyway. Get enough to where you can get a field goal.
Purdue comes up big defensively once again. They get it back at their own 20. The sophomore from Indianapolis, Jamel Coleman, coming up with a big play, the interception for the Boilermakers, but a bad break for Purdue when initially they looked like they were going to put it to the 20. Boilermakers get it now for 3.
Well, here's the other thing, too. If Jamel Coleman can just let it go, and of course you don't want to just let an interception go, but someone else would have picked it off. In this case, it would have been Derek Brown who would have picked it off and had some momentum going the other direction. Instead, now they're stuck at the 3.
And Allstott barely gets past the 3, possibly to the 4, and that is all. Well, we told you how chilly it is this afternoon. We got over to the ballpark. It was just raining. It was about 50 degrees. Now it's down to 32, and because of the wind, which is gusting upwards of 30 to 35 miles an hour, the wind chill, a very comfortable 8 below. 3-0 Michigan. 2:22 deuces wild left in the third quarter.
And yet, there you see Jamel in the short sleeve. Didn't face him any. Tough guy. Tough guy.
He didn't find Lake Michigan on the Michigan sideline. 2nd and 9 now from the 4. The new back loses his footing. That was Kevin Sellers, or check that.
It's Kendall Matthews.
Yes, for the first time today, carried the ball.
And you know what? Had he not stumbled, nobody touched him. He'd have had some yardage. Fresh legs.
He is listed as a reserve tight end. He's working out of the backfield on that play. So now 3rd and 9. The wind in the face of the Boilermakers if you're thinking about a possible pass. Ball's out on the delay. And a punting situation coming up for the Boilermakers. 6th time today they have gone 3 and out with a punt.
And don't forget that Degnan's last punt was only 15 yards. And the cheers are for the Michigan defense, which has been outstanding. But then again, in fairness to them, no more outstanding than Purdue's, which has been under much more duress.
The kicker is
7th punt coming up for Rob Degnan. Toomer standing just inside the 40. Good play by Degnan to get up and get it. And you see the wind knock it down just like a wedge shot into the wind. It stops. And now it's out of bounds at the 26. Michigan's got great field position. We check in with Mike Tariq. Mike. They'll just rain there and just sleet here in Ann Arbor. 32 seconds left in the third quarter. Don't forget, though, Purdue, if they can hold them here, it's a tall order with the way their defense has been out there for most of the third quarter and most of the first half, in fact. Only a couple of first downs in the first half for the Boilermakers offensively. They will have the wind at their back the final 15 minutes of play. In the lane, the fresh legs of Clarence Williams bouncing around inside the 25, down to the 22 for a pickup of close to 4.
How many more times? You get in that huddle if you're Purdue, you say, how many more times can we do this? Can we hang on? And as you pointed out, Joel, if they continue to do it, if they can just hang in there, even force them again to kick a field goal, good or bad, still 1 score away.
And the knock, of course, coming into the contest, at least before the Wisconsin game, Purdue would have a much better record if their defense just came through this year. Well, their defense has definitely held up their end of the agreement so far today after 3. It's back by committee for the fourth quarter for the Wolverines of Michigan as Tim Biakapatuka out with a calf strain. So right now Chris Howard is the tailback in Greece. He's throwing on 2nd and 6. Going underneath for Remersma, who is belted by the linebacker Aaron Hall. Hall has played an outstanding game sideline to sideline.
Yeah, he really has, and done it on both ends, both in pass coverage and run support.
As you mentioned, he had to make the move over the weak side backer spot. That time he picks up the tight end who was sliding across, but he definitely made a transition and a move for the good of the team. Big difference where Michigan has started with the ball as opposed to Purdue in the second half. This drive started at 26. It's 3rd and 3 now for the Wolverines. Greasy had the man in the flat and still gets the first down underneath the Mercury Hayes at the 14. Bob O'Connor making the stop, but not before Mercury Hayes comes up with a big 3rd down conversion.
You got to give a lot of credit to the offensive line of Michigan. They gave Greasy plenty of time. Watch to the right of your screen as he comes in. Mercury Hayes runs a swirl. Now he's going to sit down, pushes off the linebacker just a little bit, and Greasy's able to get it in there. If he doesn't have the time to do the little bit of a push, and that pass is not completed. Offensive line for Michigan deserves credit there.
Michigan with only 3 points today. You can see the problems they've had inside the 20, inside the red zone. Big stop by Washell. Looked like it was going to be a huge gain for Clarence Williams. He gets about 4, and we go back to Mike. Darlings of college football, the Wildcats on top with Ohio State in the conference. Number 5 in the nation.
Purple pride, purple pride.
Good for college football. What a great score. Down to the 11, where it's 2nd and 7. Good protection again for Brian Greasy. Going underneath to his tailback, Chris Howard. It's complete. Close to the 5, O'Keefer. Stopping the running back, but close to another first down. Short by a couple.
Big situation here on 3rd down. And you know what? Here's my guess is that because of the fact that they've struggled so much in the kicking game, I think they're in 4-down territory here, Joel. They could go off tackle, do whatever they wanted here on 3rd. Safe pass here. Good tackle by O'Keefer. But now you got a situation where you've got 3rd and 2. Jamie Washell, who's been a problem earlier, this time they held him out.
Zach Adams, the left guard, doing a good job protecting his quarterback. They've got the bull in the backfield. Carr, he is going to get it. And will he get to the first down marker?
He's going to be short. It appears from this vantage point that he is going to be a little bit short. But as I say, the way the kicking game's been going, I think they're going to go for it.
So it's going to be 4th down. Only a foot or 2 required for the first down. Lloyd Carr's Wolverines, they lead it by 3.
You know, if they were to fake here, any kind of fake, any kind of option, any kind of bootleg, he could just walk into the end zone because they're so jammed up in there.
Spotlight on big number 96. William Carr, the junior from Carter High School in Dallas. 4th and less than a yard. It's Carr.
He didn't get it.
I don't believe so. No.
Boy, what
Purdue's defense comes up big again. And the Boilermakers will get it back.
And I got to tell you, Joel, that is just some atrocious play calling. Got a situation where you got a dominant offensive line. All you have to do is take your receivers out, set up as you normally set up, spread the white shirts out. They don't do that. They jam them in with the exact same play back to back, and they don't come up with it.
This has got to be depressing for Wolverine fans, the kind of field position they've had in the second half.
Oh, look at O'Connor over the top. Over the top, and O'Keefer with him. Boy, I tell you what, that's just a great effort by the backers of Purdue because you know, Joel, the combination of all the factors that are working against them, the weather inside the 20, they're gassed, yet they continue to come up with it. What an outstanding job by the Purdue defense.
It's amazing they've been shut out in the second half, starting at the Michigan 37 twice, and this last one at the Michigan 26. Don't forget the Senior PGA Tour Championship coming up right after our contest in Ann Arbor. And the leaderboard has Jim Colbert on top by 3. Obraioki, Warco, and Irwin 5 off the pace. So join us, second round coverage of PGA Senior Tour Championship right after our football on ESPN.
And Joel, now the point that you made earlier comes into play. That is that Purdue is going to be going with the wind here in the 4th quarter.
Will it come back and burn Lloyd Carr? The decision he made to take the win in the 3rd quarter instead of the 4th. Pressure, Tretzker goes down, safety for Michigan. Clarence Thompson again with the corner blitz.
Here he's going to come. He comes from the blind side, and he just can't see him. There's no way to pick him up. The guard is covered. He comes in, outstanding blitz. There's just no way that Tretzker had any chance at all.
So Clarence Thompson, the junior from King High School in Detroit, giving Michigan their first 2 points of the second half. Not a bad call by the Michigan defensive coordinator.
No, absolutely not. Given the circumstances, you had to think that Greg Madison was ahead of the game. He was the guy that wasn't surprised by the play-action pass, calling the corner blitz. A gutsy call if the kid looks the other direction, but he doesn't. As a result, 2 points for the Wolverines.
So the Wolverines now with a 5-0 lead in the 8th inning. 11:47.
Very good. It does.
Left in the contest. And
oh, nice kick. Look at that.
Mercury Hayes back at the 16. Toomer, the leading blocker, forgetting. Good coverage at the 21 by the Boilermakers. So we saw Carr fail on 4th down to start it all off.
Gets bad footing, but again, O'Connor and O'Keefe are the ones that make the big play. Purdue has some momentum, but the momentum disappears. Carr's saying, what happened? That plays work. What's the deal? You can read lips right there. That's what he says. What happened? But the momentum was short-lived. Here he comes in the safety blitz. Thompson just hammers Tretzker in the end zone. As a result, a 5-0 lead.
Not the first time they've used Thompson on that corner blitz today.
Second time it's been successful. This time it was a 2-run homer.
They'll take it. In the eye. They bring back out Clarence Williams. He'll get it under the leg. And he loses the ball. The offensive lineman, I think, covered it. Was it Runyon, the left tackle?
It was.
Yes.
You know what? That was an outstanding recovery. Very close. He had the ball between his shoulder pad and his wrist. Watch the bottom of your screen after the ball is fumbled. O'Keefer sprints over and tries to get it. O'Keefer's the one that strips it. Now watch the ball where it is. Wedged right. Ooh, just lucky to come up with that. Usually the linemen don't have that good of hands, Joel.
What a punch by O'Keefer on the way by. So Runyon avoiding disaster for Michigan at the 11-minute mark. And now Williams heads over to the bench after that play. And coming into the backfield now, Ed Davis. Loss of 3, 2nd and 13. Davis wrapped up by Greg Smith trying the right side. We head back to the studio and Mike Tariq. Thanks, Mike. You know, tell number 4, you gotta know where the ball is.
Yeah, he's a little confused there. No eyes in the back of his head. What's up?
So 5-0 game here in Ann Arbor. The weather conditions have really throttled the 2 offensive units. And now 3rd and 9 for the Wolverines. The low throw. Did Mercury Hayes get it? No. It was a trap. Tried to go down and scoop it.
Well, I haven't been in that situation before, Joel. Of course, you know that I never beg for catches like that. However,
You grovel a little, though.
yeah, I can be a little subservient. Watch the ball. Watch the ball. Does he get his hands underneath the ball? That's the question. Does it skip? Well, his hands are underneath it, but right there you can see that the ball hits the grass. He's able to surround it. But his thespian ability is to no avail with the striped shirt.
Now a huge play for the special teams. Parasteris ready to punt into that stiff wind. The end over ender. Olabadani stays away from it. And Purdue will have it at their own 43. So finally, some field position for the Boilermakers. We'll come back and see what they can do with it. On the yellow slicker today, and you're wearing team colors for either Purdue or Michigan. Welcome back to Ann Arbor. Joel Myers along with Todd Christensen. 1st and 10 of the 43 for the Boilermakers. Inside of 10 minutes left of the contest. Tretzker finally has some time. And throws it short of the intended target. Looking for Charlie Stevens, his tight end.
Same situation. The receiver's trying to beg for that ball, but the ball hit the grass.
Tough day for Tretzker, 3 for 8. Tough day for the ground game of the Purdue Boilermakers, and they had to have a big day on the ground.
Absolutely. You can see there 11 plays, 13 yards. A great deal of that is because of the poor field position and the weather, but it's the running game, as you pointed out. I mean, you can see, we mentioned at the top of the show, 252 yards a game, first in the Big Ten. The defense for Michigan has been outstanding, only 34 yards thus far today for the entire Purdue team.
2nd and 10 situation. Wind to the back of the Boilermakers finally in the 4th quarter. Tretzker with time. Underthrows a wide open receiver once again. He had Alford that time, his favorite target so far this season.
Well, he got some pressure that time. Ben Huff, the defensive tackle, was in his face, but now that's back-to-back hook patterns from each side of the field that they've attempted. And as you mentioned, both cases receivers are open, but Tretzker's not been able to deliver.
So after starting his last 2 drives at his own 3-yard line, at his own 5-yard line, and the start at the 5 resulted in the safety. Now Tretzker has it at the 43, but he's looking at a 3rd and 10. 3rd and long. Been the order of the day, unfortunately, for Purdue. Tretzker, little floater. Stevens had to wait for it. If he catches him in stride as the official slides down across the way. The ball to the midfield stride. It looked like if he catches him in stride, he may be able to get to the boundary.
Yeah, what Michigan did in that situation is they decided they wanted to come with the blitz, which surprised me considering it was 3rd and so long. Watch, the inside backers are going to come on the blitz. Tretzker's got his man for man. He's got it. You're right. He has to slow up just a little bit. And as a result of slowing up, Isaac Jones is not able to come up with a 1st down.
So now Degnan in to punt it away once again. And Amani Toomer was back at the 10. Even with the wind at his back, it didn't make much of a difference as it sails out of bounds. Inside the 20 at the 15. 35-yard punt for Degnan. Michigan has it back when we return, leading by 5. Winters shut down the two offensive units of Michigan and Purdue. 5-0 lead for the Boilermakers. And it had to happen. Todd Nye in Ann Arbor. Well, last time, Greasy is throwing on first down, and he's got his back underneath, wide open across the 30, Chris Howard, and they pick up the first down all the way to the 34. ESPN's presentation of college football is being brought to you this afternoon by the new Dodge. We're thinking ahead. That's a big play in this game.
It is.
Huge play.
Yeah, it is. They caught him in the zone. They caught him in the zone defense, crossing pattern, got the back underneath. O'Connor is a little bit deep in his drop, able to pick up 19 yards. We should make an addendum to that note with regards to 1900, the last Wolverine team to score 5 points. That was the last Wolverine football team to score 5. I thought we should mention that.
8.5 and counting left in the contest. Breathing room now for Michigan, working into the wind in the fourth quarter. Howard has a huge hole straight up the gut for another first down. He's right at the marker near the 45. Burrows, a strong safety, forced to make the play in the secondary.
Well, we've been talking about the fatigue factor with regards to Purdue, and evidently this is where it's starting to happen. Take a look at the middle. Payne does a great job right there, pushing off. And you know what? That really is what it is, Joel. I mean, the people from Purdue are just getting tired.
Well, as long as Purdue held the ball last week, it'll be interesting at the end of this contest because Purdue had the ball for 42 minutes against Wisconsin in their last matchup last Saturday. And it's the other extreme for Purdue this afternoon. First down, Michigan. Plenty of room for Mercury Hayes. The stiff arm to get away from Coleman. And he's got another first down to the 32. Put the stiff arm actually on 4 Derek Winston, not 14 Coleman, before he's forced out by the free safety Brown.
Well, just as I've been critical of Fred Jackson, the offensive coordinator of Michigan, for some of his play calling, now you have to like what he's done here. Out of nowhere, everybody's expecting they're going to run up the middle again. Instead, he gets the quick hitch out to Hayes. Hayes with a stiff arm on Winston, and as a result, gets an extra 20 yards.
So 3 consecutive first downs for the Wolverines. They haven't had big plays like this since we saw that run from Tim Biakabatuka, that 37-yarder early in the first half. The running back can't get out of the backfield there. Chris Floyd loses a yard. We head to Mike Tirico.
I'm telling you, he's got some wheels. You see that burst in midfield?
Tough second half of the season for Dan Henning's squad lately.
Yeah, it really is.
So now 2nd and 10. They'll give him back to the original line of scrimmage on the run by Floyd. The new running back taking over the single set is Clarence Williams on 2nd and 10. And Williams can't get away from Derek Brown that time. Takes it down to the 29.
I like Derek Brown's run support. Even though he had the personal foul, he's been doing an outstanding job today.
Plenty of close games this year for Michigan. When you look at the Northwestern game, the very first game of the year where they won it on the final play to Mercury Hayes, beating Virginia by 1. They lose last week by 3. And here another tight one, a 5-0 lead for Michigan.
Purdue really has struggled. You know, same situation, close games. I'm sure there's a couple of games they wish they could have had back, particularly Minnesota and Penn State. Both games they feel they should have won.
Big 3rd and 6 for the Wolverines. The short drop by Greasy, almost picked off by the corner Derek Winston. He could have gone the distance as the tight end was the target.
Yeah, you know what? It's one of those situations where you're so grateful that the guy just got his hand on the ball. Winston is not fooled at all. He sees how it's going to develop. Now, if Ramiersma does not get that finger on the ball right there, it's distracted just enough to where Winston can't come up with it. In other words, you're right. He goes the distance, and we've got ourselves a 6 or 8-5 game.
Wolverines aren't going to try a 45, 46-yard field goal. Instead, they'll go for it on 4th and 6. Hayes to the wide side, Toomer over to the short side. Will they get it off in time? Just barely. And it's dropped in the flat by the back, Ed Davis.
You know what, Joel? That's the lack of savvy by the quarterback. Even if he catches the ball, he's not going to get the first down. You've got to throw the ball downfield and take a chance, because at this point, 4th and 5, if it gets picked, big deal. You've got to take a shot at it, and he didn't. He looks downfield. There's Hayes on the hook. O'Keefer is right in the zone, does a great job, and he's out in the flat. Even if he catches the ball, he's going to be right on top of him for the tackle.
So they fail on 4th down for the second time in this half. Huge difference in offensive productivity, but not a huge difference on the scoreboard. And plenty of time left for the Boilermakers as they take over their own 29.
And you know what, Joe? We should also mention with 6:58 left, there's still plenty of time to run the ball. Even though they haven't been successful, that would be something that might fool Michigan at this point because clearly they've loosened up.
Watson, the tailback on the toss sweep. Out to the 30 for yard and a half, and that is it. Second and long and third and long. That's been the story for Purdue, and this is a 2nd and 9. Tight end available. Across the 35 to the 36. It's taken in by Blackman. We check in again with Mike Terrell after a slow beginning. Cavaliers starting to come alive.
Now, Barber had something. He was 2 yards short of being the all-time Virginia rusher. Needless to say, he's already done that.
3rd and 2. Allstott came in, needing only 35 yards, become the Boilermakers' all-time leading rusher today, but I don't think he's close to 35 as Tretzker with the blitz coming up the middle, can't get rid of it. He does finally, but it's low for the tight end again, Blackman. So they can't convert on 3rd, a little more than 2, almost 3.
Tretzker actually does an outstanding job of getting the ball off at all. Jared Irons coming on the blitz. Take a look. This is what's called the Bullets blitz, where both inside backers come. Allstott's able to bump him off just enough. That's actually a great play by, as I mentioned, by Tretzker just to get rid of the thing. And now Purdue vacillating as to what to do here on 4th and 2. They decide to kick.
It's been an ugly second half for the Boilermakers offensively. There's 6 possessions. 4 have been 3 and out with a punt. 1 didn't even go 3. It was an interception by Woodson of Michigan in the first possession, and then only 1 snap. The safety by Thompson on the corner blitz. Degnan, low line driver. And this time Toomer is going to have the opportunity from the 16. He'll got a bounce across the 25, so decent operating position now when we come back for the Wolverines at their own 27, up by 5. Some hearty souls at Michigan Stadium, and you've got to be a hearty bunch to still be here at this point. 5-0 ball game, 5:24 left. Now, to the Wolverines take some time off the clock. The tailback going nowhere is Clarence Williams, true freshman out of Cass Tech in Detroit.
Now Purdue has to take some chances here defensively. They're going to have to come with some blitzes, and even though they don't want to do it with those 2 wide receivers, they're going to have to go with some man coverage. Now the pressure then becomes comes upon the shoulders of Brian Greasy to be able to pick that up, because they've got to go with the 8-man front here because they know that Michigan's just trying to run the clock out.
And every first down, just about 90 seconds off the clock with a fresh set for the Wolverines. It is a 2nd and 8 situation coming up. All 3 timeouts remaining for Purdue as well as Michigan. Nice run again by Chris Howard. He was the featured back in the last possession. He takes it to the 33 near the 34, brought down by Craig Williams.
The very thing that I was talking about didn't transpire, and that's that they decided that they had 4 deep in the secondary, which I don't understand. You can't have 7 in the box here. You know that Michigan is going to run the ball. Purdue in that case had 4 people in the secondary. I don't understand that. Take a look back here. You've got free safety. You've only got 7 up front. And as a result, you've got a 6-7 yard game. This is where Purdue has to take some chances. They've got to come up with some people in the box. Go man on the outside. They cannot afford to let Michigan get a first down.
So the biggest 3rd down of the contest for the Wolverines to hang on to the ball inside of 4 minutes to play. They've got the cushion in the corner. Toomer makes the grab for the first down. It especially helps when your cornerback Coleman slips down.
Well, not only slips down, but again, he's 8-9 yards off the ball. That's an absolute gimme for Greasy and Toomer. Toomer is somebody that certainly has to be frustrated this year. Toomer was the guy last year, 1,096 yards, set a receiving record for Michigan and led the Big Ten. This year, he has struggled as a result of the quarterback changes, but right there, certainly a big catch for a first down for Michigan.
And a break after the first down for Purdue because they have not restarted the clock after setting the chains. It is still stopped at 3:47. First and 10 from the 43.
Right guard moved.
Dead ball foul coming up against the offense.
This is the sort of thing that just drives a coach crazy.
Other scores from around the country.
Ball starts on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Clock operator. 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 7.
Take a look at the right guard. Joe Marinero is the guy that's going to move. You saw him right there move a little bit too soon, and the official is right. No time should have come off the clock, and it was at 3:47. So as you pointed out, Joel, and they went out, even though Toomer made the catch, he was out of bounds. Clock does not restart. Now they come up 1st and 15. Jim Coletta now has to be thinking about the possibility of using his timeouts this series.
They shut down Jim Coletto's ground game. That's the biggest problem for the Boilermakers today. Their lowest total on the ground, 143 yards earlier this year. They haven't broken the 50-yard mark on the ground today. Little razzle-dazzle, yes. Mercury Hayes on the reverse. They were worried about it. Hall couldn't make the stop. It's across the midfield stripe and close to a first down. He is just inside the 48, needed to go near the 47. Hall read it very well. He just lost his footing.
Yeah, he did. That was tough in the open field. This is one of the most conservative razzle-dazzle plays. Look at how careful the handoffs are. If you notice that their 26 did it with 2 hands to make sure that he got it. And as you mentioned, you saw the footing. Hall just skates down. He's not able to make the play. Hayes just a little bit short, I believe.
2 carries, 26 yards for Mercury Hayes, the senior from Washington High School in Houston. And by a couple of inches, he will come up short. But it's only 2nd down coming up for the Wolverines at the same time. After the mark-off, it was 1st and 15.
Once again, you got to give Fred Jackson, offensive coordinator from Michigan, some credit with that, because you had to figure that wait. You know, in this kind of weather, you might not want to risk those kind of handoffs. As we mentioned, the 2-handed handoff by Davis enabled Mercury Hayes to be safe enough to get close to the first down.
And after Michigan picks up the first down, Todd, a decision to be made for Jim Coletto and his staff, because they've got all 3 timeouts left. Do they start using them now? Yeah,
I would think so. I don't think they have a choice, because after they get this first down, with now, if he gets the first down, it'll be 3:30 and the clock running. I think he has to.
So 2nd and inches inside the 48 of the Boilermakers. And Ed Davis is the single set. Davis gets the first down. Not much more, though. He's down inside the 47. Washell tripping him up. Solid day up front again for Jamie Washell. And the coaches told us earlier in the week, playing the best football of his Purdue career. He's a senior from Greenwood, Indiana. 3-year starter.
Well, he certainly had a great day today. The running attack, in fairness, of course, to Michigan, with Biaka Batuka with the calf strain coming out. The running backs by committee have not damaged the front of Purdue.
Those 2 first downs came in the first half. Purdue does not have a first down. Actually, they've got 1 in the second half, 1 in the first half. Davis will stay in bounds. That's the ultimate situation now as Bob O'Connor wraps up the running back. And will Purdue stop it? Yes, they use the first timeout. We'll take a timeout and head over to Mike Tariq. Mike, by Iowa to make it that tight and lead to that point where Northwestern got that touchdown to finally take the lead early in the 4th quarter after what Illinois did to Iowa last Saturday on ESPN. College hoops, are you ready for Dickie V? I don't know about you, but I am. Preseason NIT on ESPN. Full slate. It all begins on Wednesday. Manhattan, Georgia Tech, DePaul, Michigan, Weber State, Fresno State. The Shark is back. Jerry Tarkanian's first game at Fresno State. And then at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN2, Long Beach State and Arizona. 400 college basketball games on ESPN and ESPN2 this year. Get ready, you hoopaholics. It is going to be a great, great time. As usual, college basketball already here. And boy, they've got some players. They've got a young man coming into Michigan. Michigan, a definite top 20 candidate this year.
He's a bruiser. Who do you like? You think Kentucky?
Well, it's
you
tough.
like Kentucky?
Kentucky, Kansas, UCLA. Maryland's got a good squad.
Anybody can say that. I'm asking you, who do you like?
Kentucky.
Okay.
Tough not to like Kentucky this year. 5-0, Michigan up. 2:47 left. A 2nd and 9 coming up for Lard Carr's squad. And they're down to the 2 timeouts remaining. 2 timeouts left now for Purdue. Do you take a chance with your sophomore quarterback and put it up, or do you force them just to use all their timeouts?
Well, the way the corners have been playing for Purdue, I really like that hitch route.
2nd and 9. Play it safe with Ed Davis. And the defensive back coming up, making the play. It was Derek Brown, the free safety.
Now, see, this is what I don't understand. Shouldn't they know by now that they're going to call timeout? That costs them about 5-6 seconds.
2:35 left. Purdue down to their final timeout. If you like sludge, this is the place to be. Welcome back to Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor. Joel Myers along with Todd Christensen. Been tough to keep your footing today. It's a 3rd and 6. They're only 4 of 18 on 3rd downs. They pick the double reverse. Ed Davis inside the 40. Came up just about a yard short of where he needed to go. He's at the 38. They need to go down inside the 37. O'Connor combining with Crick on that stop. But a huge one for Purdue.
It really is, and it'll be interesting here to see what the decision is with regards to Michigan. Good call again by Fred Jackson with the fake reverse. Davis cuts upfield. Crick, as you mentioned on the tackle, he's going to be a yard short.
Now, while they deliberate on 4th down, let's check in again with Mike Tariq. And Mike, Jim Coletto's Purdue Boilermakers out of timeouts now, and a decision for Lloyd Carr's Wolverines. They go for it on 4th at a yard and a half. They pick up the 1st down. It's essentially over. Yeah, that's right. And of course, the way Purdue has struggled offensively, that's what they've got to be considering here, and that's exactly what they are going to do. The offense is going on the field. So Brian Greasy leading the offensive unit out. In the backfield, George Howells, the fullback, Ed Davis, the tailback on 4th and a little more than a yard. And now he's going to change the play. The audible has been called.
Come on, call a play. Call a play. Do something.
Instead, he calls the timeout. Todd Christensen loves it.
Shoot. Well, you know what? You knew that was going to happen. It's
trying to get him offside.
The offside thing.
Well, today's Kelly Springfield players of the game. First from Purdue, the defensive tackle. Whale of a game for J. Weichel. And from Michigan, good bloodlines. Jared Irons.
It's not just the tackles and tackle for loss, but the fact that Mike Alstott not only didn't get 100 yards or anywhere near his average, it was the fact that he didn't break Purdue's record, 35 yards.
And Kelly Springfield is proud to donate $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund on behalf of these fine scholar athletes. So now Michigan will punt the ball away, much to the chagrin, I might add, of the faithful here at Michigan Stadium. They wanted to see their team go for it on 4th down.
And your broadcast partner.
You really like the call.
I'm just weary of the hut.
Well, we're going to see Nate DeLong, the sophomore's first punt of the day. They've been going to Peristeris all day long. Back deep. It is going to be Olivadotti. We've not seen Allen back there to keep up that one that was recovered at the 2 by Michigan. Olivadotti, the senior, Cooper City, Florida, the son of Tom Olivadotti, the defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. Angling it for the sideline. It stays down the middle, and it dives for the Wolverines at the 9.
Great kick.
So it's touched at the 9. Good coverage on the special teams from Michigan. And it will take a 91-yard drive for the Boilermakers, but they do have plenty in 5 on top of Wargo and Irwin. So stick around. Great golf from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, right after college football on ESPN.
You know, for somebody that hasn't done anything all day long, you got to say that that's a pretty big deal to come in there in one time. See Nate DeLong right there come in and pin him inside the 10-yard. That's got to be a great feeling for that youngster.
The two-way player Carr gets set in his stance. It's a member of the front 4 for the Wolverines. We've also seen her in the offensive backfield. Tretzker on 1st down from the 9. Short gain to the 14. Taking it in, Olivadotti on that side, but again had to stop and wait. Put down by the safety. Woodson was over there as well, the cornerback. So now 2nd and 5 from the 14. Running time, running inside of 2 minutes left.
Joel, for a team that's used to running the ball close to 40 times a game, it's obvious that the 2-minute drill is not their forte.
Ball start, offense.
Not exactly what they needed. It'll be 2nd and 10. 83 yards offensively today. Miserable day weather-wise, but Michigan has been able to cope a lot better than Purdue. Let's give credit to this Purdue defense. One of the best in the Big Ten, especially in stopping the run. They set up the screen to Allstott. Allstott waiting. And he's going to be buried short of the 10. They're out of timeouts, and it's down to 90 seconds left in the game.
Well, Jared Irons came through that completely untouched, and even though he didn't make the tackle, he was the guy that was there first to get in the way. It's not a bad call, but you got to block it.
So now 3rd and 9 from the 10. Good protection for the quarterback. He's got Alford. He's at the 25 and almost breaks it to the boundary. What a tackle by Charles Woodson. 1st down, Purdue.
You're right. That was a huge tackle, Joel, because they had the momentum, and the maize and blue are going in the other direction. If Woodson doesn't make that tackle, he's at least in midfield.
Michigan by only 5. Stops the clock momentarily for the movement of the chains of the 1st down. Tretzker underneath as Olivedani. Can he get to the boundary? Yes, he gets out of bounds across the 40 at the 41.
He was able to do that because Woodson slipped down. He had the short hook route, and of course it only picked up about 8 yards, but what it did do is it stopped the clock and moved them forward a little bit. Woodson slipped down on the play.
A bunch of what-ifs. If Purdue sustains a drive here, and Lloyd Carr had the opportunity to go for it on 4th down. Todd Christensen was talking about it. Yard and a half. They decided not to. They could have run out the clock because Purdue had used all their timeouts. Now exactly 60 seconds left. And a 2nd and short for the Boilermakers. Dump it off. That's Watson, the tailback. He's going to be short of the 1st down. Barely got back to the original line. And don't forget, they can't stop the clock. He didn't get out of bounds. Fiesel making the big play.
Gee, I really don't like that call, not just because they didn't get it, but if for whatever reason they did get it, all the people are scattered all over the field. They'd have a very difficult time getting back.
So now 3rd and a long 2, almost 3. Olivedani, will he get there? No. Woodson will make sure he doesn't get out of bounds. He gets the 1st down to stop it momentarily. It'll restart when they move the chains, though, from the 45.
You know, for a true freshman, he is making some heady plays, not only preventing him from going out of bounds, but almost stripping the ball. Woodson is having an outstanding day. Don't forget, he had that great pick earlier.
Inside of 30 seconds and counting. Olivedani coming up lame on the near side, and that's going to cost Purdue time.
Well, now you have to question that because of all of a sudden he fell down like a drunken sailor. Then suddenly he's up and sprinting to the sidelines. No wonder the crowd's booing.
Tretzker spikes it, stops the clock. Only 17 seconds remaining.
Does that fall under the heading of gamesmanship, Joel?
Well, I thought maybe it was a leg injury, maybe a cramp or something like that, because he went down and he grabbed the back of his, like his hamstring.
Well,
but then all of a sudden, boom, a sprinter.
It was a 2.5 second cramp.
Senior Tour Championship coming up next on ESPN. Still, the big play, the possibility there for Jim Coletto with 17 seconds left. It's a 2nd and 10. No real deep center field right now for the safeties. Tretzker in trouble and on his way down. The big play made by Glenn Steele. And that may very well do it. They count it down to Michigan Stadium. And the Wolverines hang on. A shutout of the Boilermakers. Final score, Michigan 5, Purdue nothing. Coming up next, the Senior PGA Tour Championship. For Todd Christensen and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Joel Myers. Thanks for joining us. So long, everybody, from Ann Arbor.